So I'm back with you today. I'm doing quite a lot of moderating today, so you'll see me up here a little bit more, but tomorrow I'll be doing all of you, so you won't have to listen to me for too long. So let's get you introduced to our wonderful panelists. Greta, I'm going to start with you first. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your business, who you are, and why you're here today? Have you got a mic?
I don't have a mic.
Can we get another mic up on stage, please? Just so Greta can not have to share one.
Or do you want to share?
Yeah. Sorry, didn't realize you didn't have one.
No, that's probably my fault. My name's Greta. Yeah, I'm the founder of Marker Video, which is a customer-generated video review marketplace. So basically, it's a tech platform where customers all over the world can upload their video reviews of products that they use and they love, and then we sell those out as authentic ads to brands.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have one. Yes. So, hi, I'm Jasmine, and I'm a fashion and beauty influencer. I started my journey through being featured on different podcasts, talking about, trauma, upbringing, just mental wellness. And through that, I was able to, create an audience of, I would say a very strong female audience. And then from that, I pivoted, and now I produce content, fashion content, beauty content. And yeah, I just have a large community of females that look to me for inspiration, encouragement. I work with them to style them, to build their confidence, and that's pretty much what I do.
So Jasmine's being very humble. The audience is incredibly engaged. So if there's anybody that's going to help us with authentic content, this is the lady. And I literally did LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Telegram, stalk her to get her here today. So really grateful to have you on stage with us. Thank you. Next up.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian. I'm the Influencer Partnerships Manager at Shop Your Likes, which is the influencer platform connected to Skimlinks. And yes, we help creators monetize their content. Yasmin is one of our leading creators there. And I can't wait to speak to you guys about everything that we do there.
Love it. Last but not least, somebody that we all know very well.
Hi guys, I'm Adam. I'm the affiliate marketing manager at Love Honey. If you don't know what we do, it's sexual wellness products and not just sex toys and lingerie. But yeah, I've been in affiliate marketing for 4 years, and part of my remit is also influencers. So yeah, looking forward to chatting about that today.
So some really interesting views up on the stage, but we did actually touch on this a little bit earlier in one of the previous panels about how do we actually build authenticity with our clients. And Greta, I'm going to come to you because you've got such an interesting perspective of what's happening in the influencer marketing space and the tech stack that you've built to actually enable brands to connect authentically with clients. So let's talk about how do we continue to be authentic using influencer marketers?
Yeah, I mean, I think influencers are incredible and they're so powerful, and they always will be. And there's a reason influencer marketing works so well, because they have influence, by definition. And I think if you have a brand that you need to kind of go from 0 to 1, you need that influence. Like you look at a brand like Prime with Logan Paul, that went to 0 to 100 just because of his influence. And there's a million that we can think of. But I suppose I built my business on the premise that brands need to connect with their customers and connect with people who are actually using their products. And that, again, by virtue of what it is authentic, because they are listening to the people who are actually using them, as opposed to handing over a script or a brief and telling them what to say. And I think definitely in this age of AI, which obviously is going to come up today and has come up already, people, in particular Gen Z, but all of us are kind of sniffing out this inauthentic content that potentially is too manufactured and is too manipulated. And brands need to kind of know that and know that they can't overproduce something, because this next generation and all of us are becoming far too aware of that.
And also a little bit more discerning, I think, in terms, and Jasmine, I think you can speak to this because your audience is discerning. So tell us, how do you ensure authenticity while driving commercial results with the partners that you're working with and still being of service to your audience?
Okay, so for me, one thing I ask myself before I work with any brand, I say, if money wasn't involved, would I still work with this brand? Would I put this content out? And that's because I try to remain true to myself, because I know from an influencer perspective, a lot of influencers struggle with, the fear of, people not receiving them well or being seen as fake and not real. So the only way you can kind of avoid that is by just staying true to yourself and not always jumping on the trends, making sure that, the brand association makes sense and it resonates with who your audience feels you are and sees you are. But you can only remain consistent as an influencer if you're genuinely being true to yourself. And that's something that I have prioritized when it comes to building my brand, because I understand that it means a lot to my audience. For them to actually purchase something that I am recommending, I don't want to break that trust with them. I want them to see that I'm, valuing them as my community, because I genuinely believe people buy people, and whenever you're trying to put on a facade, they sense it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. People buy people. We forget that sometimes in an age of AI.
Yes, I would say to add to that, actually, just sticking to your niche. I think a lot of the time, different influencers, for example, if you're a fashion influencer, if they see a different product is trending in home and garden, they'll try and test that out. And I always say cater to your communities, which is exactly what she said. If you are a fashion influencer, focus on that and maybe try out different types of content, whether it be an unboxing or a day in your life, or just going to a restaurant and showing what outfit you would wear to a restaurant. Try out different types of that content so that you're catering to your community and not alienating them, because they know when you're being trend-led. And that's good if it's relevant to your content niche. But then sometimes just hopping on a trend to go viral, they can see right through it. So,
Adam, from your perspective, you're obviously working with tons of influencers through the channel. How do you build relationships with influencers from a commercial perspective on your side?
Yeah, so from a commercial perspective, it's pretty much investing in a long-term partnership with influencers. So you're kind of building the relationship over time, similar to like affiliates, and then you develop a real connection with them. It's all about sort of, from a brand perspective, it's co-creating content rather than dictating it. So you let the influencer kind of speak with their own voice, and their audiences trust that voice essentially, and that will kind of be the path to purchase.
So I think that's one of the misconceptions I think that people have when they start working with influencers within their kind of performance channel, is that they need to curate what the influencer is actually saying. And I mean, your product is, it's a broad product. There's lots of different products within the range. How do you kind of manage brand and manage, obviously, regulatory things in terms of what people can and can't say against the products in your brand? How do you kind of manage that narrative with your influencers while still giving them the creativity?
Yeah, so we tend to do sort of not so rigid briefs, but kind of like, do's and don'ts for influencers, just to kind of, give them an idea of what they can do. Obviously, we get to have sort of review the content before they post it, just to do double checks. But there are some products where there are some potential issues with where you put it, and so we kind of have to a bit more wary about clarifying where the use of the product, what orifice you should put it in. But it's a fun conversation. Everyone laughs, but at the end of the day, it's all about sort of building your relationship with that influencer and kind of making sure your products, your brand fits with their narrative.
So within the network perspective, because obviously you're sitting right in between the two of these two sometimes, depending on which industry you're looking at, how do you sort of curate that relationship and make sure that there's no misconceptions from the start, that brands that want to kind of integrate influencers, that they know how to set up their tracking, look at all of the regulatory compliance issues? How do you facilitate that?
So I always ask for a brief from the brand, just to make sure that I'm hitting all the points that they want to, whether that's a brief for the influencer, or whether there's the list of do's and don'ts that he just spoke about. That is key, because a lot of the time we want to give the influencer, creative freedom. We don't want to lock them down with a brief, for example. But it's good to know the do's and don'ts so that they can just avoid those and then film the content that is more relevant to them. So I always start with a brief from the brand. Once that's done, then I hop on a call with the creator and then communicate that to them. I get them to give me a list of content that they would potentially pitch to this client, and then I go ahead with the approval process. So I'm ping-ponging between the two of them here. I'm getting them to approve on their end and making sure that everything is okay on the creator side, and then I'm also making sure that the creator is okay with the brief or with the do's and don'ts list that is being set, and if there's a way that they can perhaps tweak what they're saying and not just make it a scripted thing, because sometimes do's and don'ts can become quite scripted, and once again, that doesn't come across as authentic. So yeah, ping-ponging between the two, getting the approval on his end, approval on her end, and then launching the campaign and tracking from there, and staying in communication with the brand, mainly giving them any results and reporting that they need.
Okay, so Jasmine, from your perspective, what are some of the misconceptions that you receive from brands that typically approach you? Because they might not come through the network relationship, they might actually just reach out to you direct on TikTok or Insta or wherever you are, or wherever they want to be. What are some of the misconceptions that you're having to deal with brands that everybody here in the room can learn from you today?
Yeah, so I would say it's clear when a brand reaches out to me and they don't know much about who I am and my content. And I think as
your pitch.
yeah, I feel as though so for example, you want us to love your brand. We need you to love what we do as much as us loving what you guys do. And I think that's it, that shows by how you communicate to us, what you I know there's like, how can I explain this? So on email, they will have I've received so many emails and outreaches, and I can see when one's just been AI'd, and that makes me not respond, because for me, it's like, you don't really love what I do. What you're looking at is the fact that I have a highly engaged audience, and you just want to tap into my audience. But I know that that is the goal, for you to have brand awareness or for you to, increase your ROI. But I need to feel like you really value what I'm doing, and and you want us to have a partnership. So one thing for me, I love when brands come to me and they're like, I want to work with you on a long-term partnership, because it shows me that you see my value, and then it gives me the creative freedom to integrate it into my content and do more and make my audience see this is something that she's really interested in.
So the interesting thing about that is that you weren't here this morning, but I think Heather actually mentioned value over volume. And that's exactly the trend that you're talking about now, in terms of, like, how many of us here call outreach to potential partners and say, hey, we want to work with you, this is our product, this is our service. That's not what she needs. She's going to go and have a look at those things herself afterwards. What she needs is the human connection to understand you and your business and your brand. So I think we need to change the narrative sometimes in terms of how we talk to our partners and build our relationships. I'm coming to you now because, first of all, I love your product. Second of all, you see the influencer space so differently, and you're actually seeing not a rejection of influencers as such, or brand ambassadors, but almost like a reverse in terms of how we leverage and utilize them. So talk a little bit about some of the clients that you've helped through Market Video, and how clients are actually leveraging authentic content to build brand awareness.
Yeah, so again, I think influencers, there's space for both. And, there's so much content fatigue, but there's also so much content thirst. And so, yeah, there is a need and space for both. When I started Marker Video, again, it was around the need for, I suppose, genuine, authentic video reviews. The first customer we got was Unilever in the States, which was obviously huge for a startup and huge for us. And what was interesting about them was that they were like, we used to want maybe one great influencer or one post a month or one great piece of content. And they were like, and now we need, 50 different types of people talking about one product within one brand. So the person we were dealing with was dealing with, Vaseline and Dove. She was like head of Vaseline and Dove in the US. And she was like, we used to want one perfect looking person talking about, and she was like, now we want menopausal and non-binary and acne and the whole tapestry of humanity talking about one Vaseline lips, bam. And she was like, same with Dove, and she said that's all to do with the algorithms and pushing out the performance marketing and making sure everybody's seeing somebody that essentially looks like them or connects with them, which I think is beautiful. I think it's great, and that just trickled down to all the other brands we're working with. everyone was kind of looking for the same thing. And each of the brands we worked with also work with huge influencers that really help, but they also want us, who are only reaching out to their customers, only reaching out to people that they actually, that use the products, that are sitting in the cafe or the pub with their friends, telling them about the products, and they're kind of wanting to reward those customers and saying, like, look, if they're sitting there telling their friends and family about them, they should be, you know, getting rewarded by us. So let's hear what they have to say. They didn't give us briefs or scripts. They just wanted to hear. And I think when you've got budgets as big as Unilever or P&G or something, you know, you can afford to say, well, let's test this out with 200 videos. Let's test this out with 500 people and see what they all say. And then we'll chop that up and we'll clip it, or we'll use it for market research or whatever. But what was amazing to us was that they just wanted the volume. They did want the volume because they could afford it, first of all. They could push it out in different ways. They could test it, as was talked about this morning, which was super important. So yeah, that was a big learning for us, and it continues to be.
And what we see with huge clients like that have big budgets is that they're actually looking to kind of like segment or segue out of traditional influencer and are creating this whole extra channel now where the customer is now the influencer. We talk about micro-influencers, but actually if you think about it, your customer is actually your user-generated content. And what better way to actually tell other customers than to use your own customers that love your product to promote. And a lot of the brands that work with you, they actually invest huge budgets into these, like, unpolished, if I could say.
Raw is the word they want. And that's even more so now in the last 12 months. You know, I think, again, with the AI influencers, you know, coming up, people want to know that it's a guaranteed human, and they're becoming so hard to tell. You know, they've got the blemishes, they've got the flaws. It's, you know, it's just, I mean, sometimes they have the 6 fingers, but like, you know, but it's like within another year, it's just going to be impossible. So for us, it's like we have to say it's guaranteed human, and we perform KYC, we perform, you know, a validation when anyone signs up, because we have to make sure that they are human, and it's not some, you know, 95-year-old man pretending to be a 21-year-old man.
Some cool avatar. If you ever want to know about building avatar with AI, let me know, because we work with some cool platforms as well. But Adam, I want to come back to you, because obviously this is opening up a lot more kind of management problems for you in terms of how do you leverage your brand with all of these different types of influencers or customers that are creating content. How do you curate that and make sure that it still stays on trend with the products that you want them to promote? So what are you looking for when you kind of bring influencers into your program? Are you working with loads for brand you know, coverage, or are you working with just a few that have the engaged audiences like what Jasmine has?
Yeah, so for us, there's 2 tranches. So yeah, we do work in both sides of things. So we do at scale, but we also work with an intimate community of, I'd like to just call them brand advocates. But yeah, so yeah, with that, with the smaller communities, there's a lot more work to manage them, because you have to kind of build relationships, you have to talk to them. Obviously, when I first kind of look at their profiles, I look for more than just likes and comments. I kind of look for, you know, engagement, sentiment, you know, are their community actually engaging with them? Is the influencer talking with their community? You know, because, you know, we get hundreds or thousands of influencers applying for our program who generally just, you know, get, you know, as you say, could be AI, you know, where they just have hundreds of comments of men going hot, or, you know, things like that, or, misogynistic comments under them. But, you know, you kind of have to put your, like, kind of, you know, skeptical hat on and kind of have a trawl through it. So, you know, when I'm at work, people see me on my phone on TikTok or Instagram, and they're just like, you're not working. I was like, I am working. I'm looking through profiles and looking at sentiment. But yeah, so, you know, once you find like an influencer with the right fit, the right ethos, that kind of works well with your brand. You know, we look for influencers who kind of sway more to kind of like educational, more like uplifting content, rather than, you know, just put this piece of lingerie on and get 100 likes.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
Which kind of leads me to my next point, because a lot of people working with influencers, they're all about getting that first post, but we want to go beyond the one-off post. So how do you kind of extend that relationship and that leverage with a partner that does have an engaged audience? How do you make that relationship mature? Like, what are the things that you're looking to kind of bed in for long-term value? So So if I maybe start with you, Lillian, and then maybe Jasmine and Adam, you can...
Yes, of course. So the way we work is we tend to say to invest in long-term commitments. That really helps, because if you just start off with one post and perhaps that post doesn't perform well, maybe it's the type of content that has been filmed, maybe it's perhaps the brief, maybe it's perhaps the fact that they didn't showcase the item enough, so you can't tell that much from just one post. Yeah. What we say is if you invest throughout a quarter or over the space of a month or two, then she can try out, or the creator can try out different types of content and see what works. We say once you invest and they see that you value their work, then they're willing to do more for you. Sometimes they'll even do more than what's in the contract, say, just to make sure that they're getting the results that you need in order to maintain that relationship. So I always push for brands to invest long-term instead of short-term, and I also push for them to use macro and micro more. If it's for conversions, now if it's for just brand awareness, then we have our VIPs, and our VIPs are over 1 million followers plus. And then Yasmin fits into our micro section, which is 50K to 500K. So yeah.
And I do want to come to you, Yasmin, because what partnership structures have you found are most effective for building genuine long-term brand relationships? Is it the kind of upfront fee, or do you test the product first? Like, what actually drives you to build those long-term partnerships with the brands that you choose to connect to?
Okay, so context. So when I first started, it was, I had to be proactive. So for me, I had to, do a lot of affiliate programs, and I was looking for the brands that I absolutely love, and I was basically just posting and trying to, just show that I can perform. Yeah. Because for me, in my mind, I was entering into a very saturated market, but I knew I could set myself apart if I could show them that I could perform, I could convert. So what I done is, first I took on the affiliate and I showed them, okay, I'm able to have my audience engaged, I'm landing with my audience. Now where I'm at, I prefer the, upfront fee, yeah, because it shows me that you've seen the value that I'm offering, and then, that's the basis. And then obviously long-term partnerships just make me know that I've got a lot of creative control, and that is what I really value. But also, if it is a one-off, I appreciate the partnerships where the brand comes back to me after and, talks to me, gives feedback and lets me know what they thought, what worked, That's what I appreciate, because at the end of the day, I value human connection. So, yeah.
It's not just about the numbers, it's actually about the context of the numbers afterwards and the conversation. I want to talk about commercials as well, because you've got some really, really big brands, and you've also got smaller SMEs coming onto your platform, leveraging the kind of authentic content that you're sharing. What sort of commercials are you seeing work best with kind of, I would say, macro influencers, maybe, because they...
Yeah, so we don't measure our influencers through any kind of measurement. So when I was designing it, I felt I didn't want to value one person more than another, because I didn't want to deter someone coming on and saying, oh, I love this lawnmower, but I don't even own a TikTok. I don't know what Instagram is, but I do love this lawnmower and I'd love to talk about it. And I didn't want to put them in a category and say, well, you're only going to earn this much if you do, So everybody is paid the same regardless of whether you have 1 million followers or you you don't even know what TikTok is. It is a strategy in itself, and I don't think anyone else is doing it, as far as I know. But the brands really appreciate it, because, we've got everybody from an insurance company to, mascara to HelloFresh to hotel chains. So they're all looking for similar stuff, but different stuff, in that they all want to hear from their customers. Like the hotels, for example, are like, we just see our guests walking around filming stuff, and we just want that, because some hotel chains have been heavily criticized for giving away a lot of free rooms and free, and their guests are kind of saying, well, we're paying for it. I want to show how much I paid for that cocktail and that steak, and show what my room looks like. In particular, with the hotels, I think it's super interesting with for example, disabled people, like my dad, for example, is disabled, and when we're booking hotels for him, we're like checking, okay, so is the bathroom downstairs, or what's the accessibility thing, and going through their Instagrams and stuff. You know, it's a lot of very able-bodied, beautiful people on beaches drinking champagne. And, you know, I've spoken to hotel groups about this, and they're like, yeah, like, we want to see everybody's different experiences from when they check in. And that doesn't mean it has to be really raw, sad, or anything footage. It's just their personal viewpoint of how their experience is. And some people like to check into a hotel and just order room service and watch Netflix, and that's their experience from that perspective. Some people want to go to the bar and whatever. The point is that there needs to be different perspectives coming in every brand we're working with. Same with HelloFresh. I mean, HelloFresh, as everybody knows, is hugely into influencer marketing, but they were like, we need to see like messy kitchens, and we need to see, you know, not so actual, like, you know, pots and pans that aren't sparkling, and people that potentially have like, you know, diabetes or different, you know, dietary requirements, and kids running around or whatever it is. And the only way to get that is actually just to get their customers to film their experiences. But you can't pre-tell them what to say. You have to say, you're an actual customer, you're now using this. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your experience. We reject about 60% of what comes in because it's just not quality. And part of our value is that we only present the best that comes in. But yeah, we certainly don't measure based on whether that person has a following or not.
Yeah. And that's quite good, because then those videos can actually also be used in paid
Yes.
as well, so that it doesn't really matter because the content is authentic.
That's right.
And it's a different way of actually using it. Adam, I want to come to you quickly because you work in a more restricted sector. So can you give people here in the audience just a few little tips about if they are going to start working with influencers? What are some of the control measures that you've put in place in your program? Especially because your program is kind of more strict than anybody else here in the room, I would imagine, just by the context of it. What are some of the tips that you would give people just to have a smooth running when they start to work with influencers?
Yeah, so in terms of kind of, you know, having controls in place, as I said before, we have a list of do's and don'ts. We do this based on, you know, whether we have a new campaign launch or new product launch. So the do's and don'ts kind of change from time to time between different campaigns and products. So then basically, and then also kind of, you know, setting the tone. So, you know, this is the tone we'd like to kind of go with. Usually, you know, because we're less rigid, we let the influencer kind of take kind of charge, and then, you know, they kind of like pitch to us what their idea is, whether it's like a day in the life, you know, a routine, how to fit masturbation into their nightly routine, for example.
All that today, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, and then it's pretty much just about trust as well. We, with our sort of smaller, engaged brand advocate influencers, we trust them quite a lot, and the more you work with them, the more you kind of build that trust, and so you can kind of let them off the leash, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to let them off the leash and let them be creative. I think that's the message. Cool.
Yes, so I would say, yes, the do's and don'ts are definitely necessary. Also, just telling different brands, for example, if you do want to work with a micro or macro influencer, don't just think gifting one item worth £50 is going to be worth the time that they invest in that. They shoot for hours, and then afterwards they edit, for example, for a day. So it's very hard from my end to go up to them and say, are you willing to post with this £20 pair of leggings, and that will be your payment. So I would say just show that you value their work is so key. That makes our life easier, and also makes your life easier because they can sense that value. So I say, for example, give a gift code voucher of £200 or £150 so that they can bulk buy and then plan different shoots throughout the month. That way you get bulk content, and immediately they're like, you value my work, I'm going to try my best, and I'm going to execute this to perfection. So that, and then also, I say if you're going to provide a brief, fair enough, but as we've said again and again, creative freedom is key when working with influencers. So perhaps within the brief say, okay, here are the USPs. Just please make sure you state them within the first 30 seconds or within the first 45 seconds. After this, feel free to shoot something in your kitchen or in your bedroom that is authentic to you and that you know your audience will resonate with. So yes, the do's and don'ts, the USPs, but then afterwards let them be free, and then you'll get the results that you need. So, yeah.
I just want to ask one quick question of you, Yasmin. KPIs that actually matter for you, do they differ between different brands that you work with? And
Sorry, I didn't hear
the
you.
KPIs that actually matter for you, is it how many people like or comment or purchase? And do different brands ask you for different KPIs?
The KPIs that matter to me, I think because I do so much affiliate, is obviously return on investment. That is one of the key things, but also what engagement I'm getting from my audience, the sentiments, what they're saying to me, whether they're saying. So one of the things that I done with my strategy is I would go on certain brands and I would look at the pictures of items that don't look good on the page, and I would choose to get those items and I would do content in it. Then what would happen is people in my comments would be like, I saw it on the brand site and I didn't like it, but on you, I love it, so I'm gonna go and buy it. That was my proof to the brand, the value that I'm bringing. So it depends what I'm trying to achieve, but that is something that stood out, and that was how I was able to convey my value clearly without any fault.
So I love that, because it's not just about promoting the product, the features, it's also the benefits of it. It's like what happens after the product, because I maybe didn't like that product, but I liked it because you showed it to me in a different way.
Exactly, yeah.
And so leveraging that with your influences is quite interesting as well. Greta, I'm going to come to you again. Let's wrap up this panel. I almost said episode, like I was on a podcast for a minute. Forget where I am. What tips would you give to brands working here now that actually want to kind of double down and maybe test some of the things that you're doing in your platform? What do they need to get ready before they come to your platform and actually leverage the content that you're curating for them?
I mean, it's great to use us because the barrier to entry is so low. Yeah, all you have to do is put a link to us in your email marketing or your website or a QR based, depending on your business. Obviously, HelloFresh has our QR codes in all their boxes. The hotels we work with have our QR codes on their screens in their bedrooms and at the check-in desk. The eyelash serum, they put us every sale they make, they put a click, review your experience here, click here. So all your customers basically just come to us, and when they land on us through you, they'll get a specific kind of journey where they go, you're coming from here and you're in the right place, and let's onboard you. And we're about to launch an app where basically at the moment you get onboarded and you tell us about yourself, and that's great, and you give us your bank details and all that kind of stuff, and then we will kind of coach you through how to do it. So like, again, no scripts, but we'll say, like, for example, just apropos of what we were talking about there, like with the supplements company we're working with, we'd say, like, maybe you're not supposed to say that it makes you fall asleep, just say it makes you relax or whatever, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we will do that specifically for your brand without, manipulating people or giving too many specifics. But in September, we're launching an app where all of your customers can come through the app, and they'll just answer questions totally optionally about like their relationship status or their dietary requirements or, where they're living, or do they have any skin problems or anything like that, so that you can actually see on your dashboard, okay, that's interesting, like 20% of our customers are actually breastfeeding and they also have acne and they're also using one of our competitor products or whatever. But the point is, it's very easy to just implement that. Like, anyone can do it in the world, can just put our link in their marketing and say, we'd love to hear what you have to say, and then once the videos come to us, we'll contact you and say, you've got some video reviews here and you can purchase them off the shelf. So there's very low commitment. You can just say, oh cool, there's 20 videos here talking about our brand, like Shutterstock, and you just download them and say, cool, let's use these. And the licensing is open. You can use them for as long as you want. You can change the music. You can do whatever you want. But all of your customers will get paid as soon as you download the videos.
I love that because there's an opportunity for brands that have really engaged audiences who love their products to actually monetize that brand value, that appreciation.
And you might, I mean, we have sorry to interrupt you, Leanne. We have a customer who only has like 100, like she came to us very early on in her journey, and she was like, you know, my price point is like $2,500 for my product. So like, it's a big price point, but I have customers that are, you know, they're very loyal and they love it. And I'd love to actually be able to give them back something. So I'd love to use you guys. And we were like, great, just pop us on your Instagram, you know, pop us in your orders. And within a week, we had a beautiful video from one of her customers talking about her product and everything, and she bought it straight away. And so it doesn't matter if you've only got like 100 customers or you've got 1 million customers. If you want to give back to them, they're like, yeah, I'd love to make $100. I'll definitely talk about your brand. You know, so it doesn't matter how big or small. You don't have to be Unilever.
Well, the other thing is you don't need to invest a lot of money in paid ads and creating paid ads, because you can get your customers to do it for you, and then you can speak to that gentleman over there from Success Room to go buy an ad account and push them out on TikTok and everywhere else and bring your customers in. So we're all about acquisition here today. So thank you for that and that strategy. One tip from the rest of you, for everybody here that is looking to kind of dive deep in and start to work with influencers, either a tip or a warning or an insight. Can you give us your value bombs? Yasmin, I'm going to come to you next. Tell everybody what they need to know before they get started.
I would say show an interest in us before you propose working with us. So whether that's, you know, following us on social media, commenting underneath our posts, just show us that we're on your radar. And then that kind of, you know, warms up the interaction, and it lets us know we're on a good stead, we're moving in the right direction. That's one thing.
Be more human, I love it.
Yeah, that's all. Be more human.
For me, I would say test out different types of content and across different social media platforms. So whether it be short form content, try that. Try longer form content on YouTube, for example. Try live streaming. You've seen how on TikTok live streaming is going crazy. Well, you can do that on Instagram at the same time. Just have someone else helping you and just sending out the links to different people's DMs. See what works for your brand and your audience. Focus on your audience as well, please. Don't just try and cater to every audience like Gen Z, millennials, boomers. See who's selling for you, focus on that, and then cater that to the social media platform that you're using as well. If it's Gen X, boomers, perhaps look at Facebook and see how they consume content and also edit the videos that way. So yeah, so many different tips, but you can find this all on YouTube. You can research this as well. And I think once you cater to your key demographic as well, I mean, you'll see those conversions coming in for sure. And also, track your results. Make sure you're always tracking your results. Focus on conversions, obviously, orders, engagement. Really look through at that comment section as well. Look at the average order value.
Oh my God, that's like a whole checklist.
Sorry, I have so much.
Adam, what about you? What's your one last tip that you're going to round us off with today from a brand perspective?
I
Who
think-
is doing it successfully?
Yeah, so from a brand perspective, I'd probably say treat influencers and content a bit like content from normal publishers, like Cosmopolitan, because I think the thing nowadays is that the purchase journey isn't linear.
Yeah.
The purchase journey is multi-touch. The user will go, oh, I love the look of this clitoral vibrator. They might go away and do research. I found on our site, the click to sale is about 1 day. So you have about 24 hours for that user to look around the internet, social media, to find that content which is going to encourage them to make that purchase. So, on social, on influencers, they'll look on, social media is now being used as a search engine. So people will search that product review with the word review into like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, for example. And then, that will really help drive that kind of purchase decision. So that's probably one of my advices is, look beyond just the pure metrics of like conversion clicks, because there is value to this content beyond immediate results.
Okay, so I'm going to sum that up. Be more human. Test different channels and content types. Be strategic about what you're going to be doing with your influencers and how you're inviting them in. Track the making sure that your conversion rate and your landing pages and your sales funnel is optimized for people to convert. So I think that wraps it up for this amazing group of panelists here. Does anybody have any questions for these lovely people? There's a million questions. Okay, let's go. Love it. You can also ask questions in the Slack chat if you haven't already. Okay, or do it old school, stick your hand up. There you go, some mics coming your way now. Jenny is the tracking queen.
All right. In the past, in my own experience, content creators look down on the affiliate side of things.
Okay.
And based on my own experience, I'm seeing more and more influencers come to performance marketing events. And I feel that was one of my biggest predictions for 2025, that we would see consolidation between the influencer side and the affiliate side of things. So influencers understanding that they are in fact affiliates. And I love that Jasmine went right there. In your experience, and this is for the whole panel, are you seeing that to be the case, or is this my perception because I come from the affiliate side?
Is it to all of us?
All of us.
So from my perception, I've seen that, yes, a lot of influencers are actually using affiliate links organically within their content, on their stories, within their short form content as well. And the reason why they're doing so is because they're seeing that a lot of brands are selecting the same influencers for their campaign, whether it be a Molly May or Patricia Bright. They're selecting the same people and they don't really get a chance, and they're not getting that much revenue. So they say, how can I make that evergreen money? How can I always have money coming in? It's affiliate links. And actually, I've seen multiple podcasts, multiple influencer podcasts, pushing their other influencer friends, saying use affiliate links, because that's the way that you'll always have money coming in. And then you can reinvest into your content and pitch to these brands that are using these bigger influencers like a Molly May, and say, look, this is how I can convert my audience. This is my engagement rate. I have the results because platforms like Shop Your Likes, we're quite transparent. We give you the net sales, we give you your earnings, clicks, conversions, orders, everything. So you're able to use that reporting and use that to pitch to different brands like HelloFresh and try and get a deal that way. So I think it's great to build your portfolio and also have that monthly income coming in and stability. And I know with Yasmin, that's key, right? That's what you do.
Yeah, that is key. Everything you said is exactly what I think. I feel the reason why influencers tend to stay away from affiliate is because a lot of the time I've been able to secure, flat fee payments now, because when I do my pitches, I show them what I'm able to do. Yeah. And that I knew from the beginning that was going to be my leverage. So that's why I just started with affiliate, because I was like, I'm going to make sure they can see what I can do. Mm-hmm. And that was going to be my pitching style. And so, yeah, everything you said is key.
Great question, thank you. Red? Red?
My question's on measurement. This is the biggest issue I have. A lot of my clients will be quite revenue and performance led, but they do need help at the top of the funnel. So a lot of my time I spend trying to convince them that how to add influencers into the mix, but then it's that how do we actually measure that? A lot of my clients also have more considered purchases because they're higher AOV. So they are not, again, influencers are very, very heavy into like beauty, where actually it's a much more affordable product. Whereas the clients I work with, they are 200, 300, 400 pounds plus. So how do we measure the role, or how do you advise me to go to these clients and say, let's invest in influencers, and how we can measure that, because it's not always going to be on a performance basis. Yeah, it'd be good to get your thoughts on that.
Yes, I would always ask the client, actually, what is the goal of this campaign first? Is it for brand awareness, or are you trying to push this new range that you're launching? I need to understand that first in order to recommend the right creator. Okay, if it's for brand awareness for a smaller brand, let's think of a smaller brand, smaller handbag brand, let's say. Okay, yes, but not many people know about them, because I didn't until now. So I would say, okay, fine, let's focus on our macro to VIPs so that we can push that out. What I'll do is then I'll look at the views on the post. I'll also look at the engagement. I'll also look at the comment sections as well and see if people are being inquisitive about it. Perhaps they'll have a specific tracking link that they send to us that we can use for that specific campaign. And then from there, they can measure the results that they need to measure. Now, if it's fully focused on conversions, then it's a different thing, right? But for example, we work with a handbag brand called D'Amelia. I'm sure a lot of you guys know them. And so they are mainly focused on converting. So what they do is they don't even mind just gifting the product and saying, can you shoot 5 different types of content? Let's see what works. Can you provide reporting? I specifically want to know how many orders are coming in from this creator. Which date did this happen? Is it because there's a specific is there a specific event going on? Is it Valentine's Day? Is it summer sales? Let's figure it out. Let's know what is causing their audience to buy. And that way we can always push to use that type of creator. So I'd always say, actually, identify the purpose of the campaign first. Because if I just give them a list of all the creators on Shop Your Likes, they're always going to choose our biggest creator that's there. But then our biggest creator, for example, Patricia Bright, her investment for one post is quite high. It starts at 20K. And so you're investing 20K in one post for what exactly? And we don't know what that conversion will look like.
Can I just ask, what is her reach for a 20K?
Fashion and beauty.
Relevance.
Yeah, she specializes in fashion and beauty content. She's huge within that realm. She's big on YouTube.
How many views does a 20K post buy you? Sorry,
It's crazy. Yeah, so it's mainly they mainly use her for brand awareness purposes. But then if you do push her to smaller brands, yes, they say, can I gift her? No, you can't, because she's never going to accept it, and she gets free items sent to her place all the time. So let's try to identify the purpose now, then I can link you to the right creator, and then we can see, okay, if you want to convert, I can give you that reporting, and let's see.
And I just always found, though, that sorry, I've got a big gob I could probably just, but I've always just found that we've gone down this road, we've engaged these people, and it's like, we give them the handbag, we've paid them money. This is not for Charles & Keith, it's a different brand. And then they've done this post, and they've got a little bit of engagement, and the client's then gone, it's not really done very much, has it? So I know it's about setting expectations, but also I feel like these some of the creators we've not engaged is the wrong creators because they've just not really loved that product enough. Is it, I don't even know really what I'm trying to get at. I think the issue I'm having is that engaging the right creators and then measuring it in a way that the client can understand that it's not always going to deliver sales. I've worked in affiliates a long time, and influence is just something I cannot get either my clients to work. It's just never worked for them. I mean, I don't know if it's because they just don't have that product, or whether it's the wrong creators, wrong measurements, I don't know.
I would say always test out different types of content. It can be one type of, perhaps it's an unboxing that they've done. For example, the handbag brands love an unboxing, but sometimes their audience doesn't resonate with that. So perhaps they should incorporate into a day in your life, okay, I can take this bag to the gym, and then I can take it to the office. But then afterwards, I have this corporate event. Try out different types of content, like I said, across different sorts of platforms. It takes a long time, but once you see what works, then just tap into that and always do that. Like I said, always focus on the creator that specializes in that niche, and then try all different types of content and see.
In the lunch break, because I think she'll be able to give us. Any more questions? Okay, one more at the back over there, and then I'll wrap it up. Thank you. And this is what we want, people. We want audience interaction. This is very much a two-way conversation.
Hello.
Hi.
So
How do you feel about live shopping?
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hooked, but anyone else? Because I've got a lot to say. I always
Yeah,
love
from the
shopping.
creator side,
you-
but also from maybe a technology platform side, would you think about incorporating live shopping in a kind of a technology also to track things, and yeah, and as a creator as well,
So, yeah,
would you
live
use
shopping.
this as a
So yeah,
as a format?
So live shopping, it's amazing. I think it's really good because you're capitalizing on impulsive buying. They're seeing it firsthand and they're literally purchasing on the live, and they love that. They're getting a real sense of the item. They know that it hasn't been edited. They know that nothing, everything is just raw and authentic. So I would say it's something that's blowing up. I do a lot of that on TikTok. So Instagram's kind of different, but TikTok I do that, and that has been really lucrative.
Yes, I would definitely say tap into that and across different platforms, because nowadays people tend to focus on TikTok shop, but you can actually live stream on YouTube, you can live stream on Instagram, you can do it all at the same time. And as I said earlier, if you just have one other person helping you, sending the links when it's on Instagram or YouTube directly to that follower, that helps create a sense of urgency and they want to buy because they're on your live stream because they love what you're doing. And it's also a great way to test out the item. For example, what you were saying there, perhaps they don't love the item enough. Well, throughout that live stream, they can say why they actually do like the item, the benefit of using that item. And then people are asking them questions there and then, and they're answering, and it creates a sense of community, right? And they're like, well, I'm buying just simply because she sold it to me within this second.
Yeah.
It's quite impulsive, but it's great.
I have one quick question. I'm sorry, guys, and then we will wrap it up, but this is important. So, Yasmin, from your perspective, you're a fashion and beauty influencer. That's kind of like your name. But your people follow you. I mean, I've been stalking you on TikTok. I really do. People do remember before they come up on the stage. Like, you could sell anything. You could sell mattresses. You could sell, like, it really doesn't matter. Like, have you ever tried to kind of like step out of your realm of focus and actually cross-sell to other products? Is that something that you ever would? I mean, I'm just asking.
Would I try it? I would definitely try it. I'm open. I think because of how my brain works, when I started this, I looked at the fact that I had a strong female following, and I went to all the different segments that they would be interested in because I'm interested in it. That was my key. My key was, this is, in the best way to say it, I treat my social media as my mini TV reality show. And it's like, I want to create a community that resonates with what I'm putting out, not so much doing what they want, but if you understand where I'm coming from, I understand that this is what you're looking for, but also I'm passionate about it. So we're going to join and make a community where we can even exchange different thoughts, and I'm getting value from you, you're getting value from me, and you're telling me what you want, and then I'm delivering. So I think also it's about personality. I'm very big on letting them know how I am as a person. I give them more of me in a sense. One thing that I do is on my stories, I tend to interact with a lot of my audience. I do it a lot. I talk about things. I let people give me things to discuss, and I give my my opinions on it. And then on my grid posts, I keep it quite aesthetic. And that's what I do, and I sell through that. But then TikTok, I'm just very big on community. That is one thing, and I think that's why I'm able to sell so many things, because people send me messages like, I love your personality, I love that you speak to us. If you can capture your audience and show them that you're a real human being, because that was one thing as well that I was very clear on. I wanted to grow but still resonate. So many influencers grow and then it seems like they're distant, and I didn't want that. So that's something I've always prioritized.
I love it. And I follow that too. Whoever's ever messaged me on LinkedIn is literally me that answers your email. So I love that. I think being community driven is really the way forward. And that's part of what makes us stay authentic.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us today and giving us all these insights. If you've got questions, you can grab them during lunch.